Senior Disciple Li's eyelids lightly shuddered as he pondered intensely, trying to decide which was the better path for him. After a short moment, his tightly closed eyes snapped open as he stared intently at the pill in Han Li's hand with a feverish gaze. Han Li did not say anything more and inserted the pill into Senior Disciple Li's mouth. The white foam around his mouth did nothing to stop him from swallowing the pill, and after it was fully ingested, Han Li slowly retracted all of the silver needles from Senior Disciple Li's body. After the retrieval of all the silver needles, the essence extraction pill began to take effect. Senior Disciple Li's pale face started to take on a reddish hue. At this moment, his body started to convulse again and his limbs started to shiver as a low drone issued from his throat. Senior Disciple Li did not want to be a laughingstock in front of Han Li, so he tried unsuccessfully to suppress his pain-filled voice. The low drone involuntarily got louder and louder as the shivers got more intense. It was only after a long period of time that the droning began to slowly subside. Finally, Senior Disciple Li recovered as his face returned to its normal, pale color, and his body stopped convulsing. This signaled that he successfully endured the last of the backlashes from consuming the essence extraction pill. Senior Disciple Li straightened his body, crossed his legs, and closed his eyes in order to enter meditation, attempting to circulate his qi to heal his injuries. Han Li found a clean, large rock nearby and sat down on it, watching Senior Disciple Li. After the time it took to eat a meal, the Senior Disciple Li, who was in a state of meditation, abruptly wrenched open his eyes and drew his saber in a flash, placing the shining blade on Han Li's neck. "Give me a reason not to kill you." Senior Disciple Li's eyes were full of coldness and filled with killing intent. "I just saved your life. Is that not a good enough reason?" Han Li stated calmly with no change to his expression except for the twitching of his brows. If one did not study Han Li's face intently, they would not have seen it. Senior Disciple Li's face slightly softened, but his eyes were still filled with killing intent as he stared at Han Li. "Before I made the decision to save you, I already guessed that you might kill me to protect your secret, but I didn't think that your action would be so fast." Han Li bitterly laughed as his face was filled with self-mockery. Despite knowing that saving you would bring calamity upon myself, I, a student of medical arts, couldn't simply sit by and watch you die. Han Li sighed. As Senior Disciple Li heard his words, his face took on a somewhat embarrassed expression, and he shifted the saber from Han Li's neck a little but did not fully remove the blade. Han Li secretly let out a breath of relief, and he continued his speech more determinedly. "You have no need to worry that I would divulge your secret. One look at my face and you would know that I'm not one to gossip. If you are still worried, I could swear a binding oath. You should be able to tell that I'm not skilled in martial arts, so if you discovered that I broke my vow, you could easily kill me," Han Li calmly suggested. "Okay, swear a binding oath then," Senior Disciple Li said straightforwardly. It was only now that Han Li relaxed. Before he saved Senior Disciple Li, he could infer that Senior Disciple Li was not one to forget a kindness, but he was not completely sure of his assessment. If he was wrong and Senior Disciple Li was a person that returned kindness with viciousness, he would only be able to defend himself with his secret life-saving method. Knowing that he would not have to use it, Han Li stealthily retracted his hand from within his robes. After Han Li swore a binding oath, Senior Disciple Li finally retracted the saber and returned it to its sheath. Han Li slightly felt a slight trace of blood on his throat caused by the keen edge of the saber. It was sticky to the touch, and as Han Li's heartbeat returned to normal, he could feel cold sweat trickling down his back. What a close call. My evaluation prior to saving Senior Disciple Li was not comprehensive enough. I'm determined to learn from this mistake and to prevent my life from being in the control of someone else's hands ever again. He still had some fear lingering from this event. If there's no guarantee of my safety, I will definitely not save others in the future. Han Li decided immediately. This was the first time Han Li had saved someone, but the experience left him with a bad taste in his mouth. This event only helped to reinforce that the world was full of unexpected turnouts, and the last vestige of kindness in him was slowly being discarded away. Even though he had not turned evil, he was far from being a saint. You have saved my life and agreed to keep the matter a secret. I, Li Feiyu, owe you a big favor henceforth. As long as I'm still alive, no matter what you need help with, you can look for me. As long as I am able to accomplish the task, I will definitely help you. As he reclaimed the items that Han Li ransacked through, Senior Disciple Li stated his vow straightforwardly, using his own name as a guarantee after he fully recovered from the pill's backlash. I fear that I currently have nothing to trouble you with, but you should already have plenty of troubles, no? Han Li had a slight smile on his face as he faced Senior Disciple Li with another question. How did you know? Li Feiyu was startled and slightly lost his composure. Anyone would have easily guessed. You are just a normal disciple under a protector, yet with your skills, you have surpassed disciples of the vice sect leaders, division heads, and elders. How could they possibly let you live peacefully? Han Li's response was like a needle drawing blood. With a single prick, he went straight to the heart of the matter. Senior Disciple Li's expression was gloomy and overcast as he agreed in silence. Your troubles are your own, I have no wish to interfere and cannot interfere even if I wanted to, but, for the excruciating backlash from consuming the essence extraction pill, I could help you lessen the pain. Is this true? Li Feiyu suddenly snapped to attention as his previous gloomy expression was replaced with anticipation and excitement. He was giddy since the backlash of the essence extraction pill was extremely tortuous. Why would I lie to you when there is nothing beneficial for me to gain by doing so? Han Li glanced at Senior Disciple Li. He had already concocted a remedy that would greatly lessen the pain felt by others, a medicine that he researched in his spare time for Zhang Tai. It was extremely effective, greatly cutting off the nerve's ability to feel pain. This is truly excellent. Excellent. Li Feiyu clasped his hands as he looked at Han Li with wonder and excitement. Why are you looking at me with such an expression? I do not have the medicine on me right now. I need to return to God Hand Valley before I can concoct it for you. After Li Feiyu heard what Han Li said, he had a slightly embarrassed look on his face. He had just threatened to kill Han Li and now, he was requesting his help. Tomorrow at noon, wait for me at the entrance of the God Hand Valley. I will hand you the remedy in that location, but since Dr. Mo is currently away, I can't allow anyone to simply enter the God Hand Valley, Han Li explained. Very well, I shall be there on time. Thank you, my dear brother. Scared that Han Li would change his mind, Li Feiyu quickly responded with his confirmation. My name is Han Li, the personal disciple of Dr. Mo. Your cultivation in martial arts is so high, you can just directly call me Junior Brother Han in the future. After Han Li heard the words, my dear brother, he couldn't help but shiver and thus, quickly told Senior Disciple Li his name to prevent him from calling Han Li any more embarrassing titles. Looking at Li Feiyu's back as it gradually disappeared as he walked away, Han Li quietly stood where he was, lost in contemplation. After they had agreed to meet at noon the next day, Senior Disciple Li took the initiative to bid Han Li goodbye, saying that he had to meditate to fully heal his injuries. After they had spoken for a long time, Han Li did not ask Li Feiyu why he had consumed the pill. Han Li knew that even if he had asked, it would be useless because things that already happened could not be changed. From his observations, Li Feiyu was willing to forsake his future, just for a short 10 years of fame and glory. This probably meant that he had some underlying reason, which left him with no choice but to do so. No one would willingly commit suicide, so if Han Li really did question Li Feiyu, it would be like rubbing salt on his wounds. Obviously, what Han Li did was correct. Before Li Feiyu left, when he saw that Han Li did not question him about the reason why he was taking the essence extraction pill, he was grateful for Han Li being considerate. Han Li knew that although Li Feiyu did not mention anything, he assumed that he owed Han Li a favor. Han Li was prepared to fulfill his promise to Senior Disciple Li, so not only would he not spread the secret, he would also concoct the pain-relieving medicine for Senior Disciple Li. The reason for him doing so was simple. Since Senior Disciple Li was not a vile person, nor did he really want to kill Han Li thought that he might as well use this opportunity to increase the amount of favors that Senior Disciple Li owed him. So, in the future, Senior Disciple Li would find it hard to turn down his requests. In the next few years, Li Feiyu's martial skills would only exponentially increase as the essence extraction pill burnt his life force, so he would be of immeasurable help to Han Li in the future. Even if Han Li did not need this favor, it did not matter much. Being able to help a character like Senior Disciple Li also caused Han Li to feel happy in his heart. Although Senior Disciple Li may not be a good person, Han Li knew that after the events that transpired today, Li Feiyu wouldn't jeopardize him. Han Li ran the whole sequence of events that happened today through his mind again. It was only when he was certain that everything had been accounted for that he returned to God Hand Valley. After he strolled back to the God Hand Valley in a relaxed manner, Han Li began preparations to concoct the pain-relieving medicine for Senior Disciple Li. It was relatively simple for Han Li to concoct this medicine, as he could find all the ingredients he needed in the nearby medicinal herb garden. The only thing that was slightly complex was the concocting process. One must give it their full attention, if not, the chance of failure would be high. After a busy afternoon, Han Li concocted a year's supply of the pain-relieving medicine Senior Disciple Li needed. He did not produce more intentionally as he wanted Senior Disciple Li to seek him out after all of the medicine was consumed so that he could increase his importance in Senior Disciple Li's eyes. This way, Senior Disciple Li would not be able to easily forget his favor. In the middle of the night, Han Li was suddenly struck by a sense of loneliness as he raised his head to gaze at the stars in the pitch-black sky and begin reminiscing. He was thinking of his family back in his village. He had left the village 4 years ago, and ever since he arrived at the mountain, he had been assiduously cultivating the nameless oracular formula every day and had no time to visit his family. The only thing he did to lessen his heartache was to send taels of silver back every month, hoping that his family was living a better life. He deeply treasured the letters that his parents wrote, even though there wasn't much written in the letters other than telling him that everything was good in his family, his second brother had married, and things were getting better because of the silver he sent back. Reading these letters made Han Li feel much better. However, over the years, Han Li felt that the tone of the letters was gradually becoming more and more polite, as if they were writing to a stranger. Initially, this caused fear to blossom in his heart, as he did not know what to do in this situation. However, as time passed, this feeling of fear gradually numbed as the image of his family in his mind gradually became blurred. He reminisced about matters of the past, thinking back to that warm feeling of the time when he was still back in the village when melancholy suddenly hit him. That warm feeling was very valuable to him as he knew that he would never be able to savor it again. Han Li placed his hand on his chest, using his fingers to grip the good luck charm that was in the leather pouch hanging around his neck. Whenever he was frustrated, he would only need to hold the good luck charm to calm himself down. But tonight, after holding it, his heart only got more and more flustered, and he was unable to calm down. He was unable to control his emotions because there was a depression in his heart, which in turn caused bizarre bodily reactions from Han Li. His blood started to surge as the qi in his body ran rampant. Qigong deviation. These two words appeared in his mind. Han Li stood up, and drew in a huge breath, forcibly suppressing his chaotic state as he told himself to calm down. Now that Dr. Mo was away, he could only depend on himself to solve this crisis. He did not know why he was suffering from Qigong deviation, and his mind continued to ponder. Even though now was not the best time to question the reason, he still tried finding the root cause and cut the problem at its root, as it was the best way to recover from Qigong deviation. Han Li rotated his head as he surveyed his surroundings, but nothing seemed suspicious. He touched his chin with his right hand, and at the same time, his hand also knocked against something on his chest. Leather pouch, good luck charm, the names of these two items appeared in his mind. Could it be the good luck charm that caused the reaction? Han Li was not sure, but he had no time to hesitate now, as the condition of his body was getting worse and there were signs that he would soon be unable to control the surging qi. Han Li tore the leather pouch off his neck decisively and flung it away from him. No, something is wrong, I feel even worse. The surge in my qi and blood is getting more violent. Han Li forcefully suppressed the surging qi as he stared at the leather pouch with his bloodshot eyes, hoping to find the reason why he had suffered more after he flung the pouch away. Maybe Lady Luck was smiling on him. Abruptly, a sudden thought flashed past his mind. He quickly rushed towards the leather pouch which he had discarded, and with a deft movement, took out the good luck charm that was hidden inside neatly and quickly. The moment his palm brushed against the good luck charm, a refreshing feeling was emitted from the bottle and eventually calmed his heart. His previous frustrations and melancholy all disappeared without a trace, and his qi and blood stopped surging, returning back to his normal state. Currently, Han Li had no interest in discovering the root of the problem that occurred earlier. Holding the good luck charm in his palm, he brought it forward in front of his eyelids, pressing it against his face. Gently caressing it, Han Li focused all of his attention on the bottle. After half a day, Han Li heaved a sigh of relief, diverting his attention away from the good luck charm. Han Li didn't know that the phenomenon that happened to him earlier was not because of Qigong deviation, but rather because he suffered from a heart demon that all cultivators would eventually face. Luckily, he discovered it in its early stages and fought it off by focusing on an object that was familiar to him. If he hadn't, the heart demon would have entered his soul and controlled his body from within, causing him to bleed to death from his meridians. Of course, Han Li wouldn't learn about this until after he truly stepped onto the path of cultivation in the future. Han Li circulated his qi around his whole body and realized there was nothing abnormal. What made him gasp in astonishment was that instead of suffering injuries, his cultivation level had unknowingly increased by a great extent. Although he did not make a breakthrough from the third layer to the fourth, but because of his struggle against the heart demon, he had reached the peak of the third layer earlier than expected and was only a hair length away from breaking through to the fourth. Because of this unexpected stroke of luck, Han Li had a smile on his face. However, he had to forcefully suppress the agitation in his heart. He was afraid that his unstable emotions would lead to another attack by the heart demon. Han Li was uncertain whether he could survive it intact if another attack took place. He took the good luck charm that had saved his life and replaced it inside the leather pouch before hanging it on his neck. Yi! Han Li realized that there was an object long forgotten by him inside the leather pouch. An object that had been left lying about in there for a few years, the mysterious bottle. Han Li had completely forgotten about the mysterious bottle. The moment he saw it, he remembered the past events. The current Han Li was an archive of knowledge and wisdom that far surpassed the Han Li from 4 years ago. In these 4 years, he had read all the books in Dr. Mo's residence and gained much knowledge. He also cultivated the nameless oracular chant, which effectively strengthened his mind. Looking back at the disturbance to his qi, he could effectively deduce that this mysterious bottle was a treasured item with effects that were far from ordinary. What Han Li needed to do now was to delve into and unravel the secrets of the bottle and to see if it could be used to benefit himself. There was no way he would just leave it lying around in the leather pouch and waste such a mysterious object. Han Li took out the bottle and inspected its entire surface as if he were trying to look for something that he had missed out on during his inspection 4 years ago. But no matter how much he inspected, there were no new discoveries. Han Li wasted no time and opened the cap of the bottle. Floating inside of the mysterious bottle was the jade-green droplet of liquid that had manifested 4 years ago. It was no different than from when it first appeared in the bottle. However, Han Li was positive that the secret of the bottle lay in the jade-green droplet of liquid. To test his theories, he would need to find some small animals to perform a few cruel, live experiments. It was midnight, the sky pitch black outside. The darkness made it simply impractical for him to hunt for live animals. And after experiencing the attack of the heart demon earlier, Han Li was already somewhat exhausted. Even if he could catch a live animal, how would he be able to see if there were any changes to the test subject if it was pitch dark? Any actions Han Li could make would be a waste of effort. After contemplating, Han Li decided to rest and recover his energy before experimenting the next day. He told himself that there would be a big surprise waiting for him tomorrow, and with that thought, he drifted off to sleep. The next morning, after washing himself, Han Li went to eat a hearty breakfast. After that, he immediately went to speak to the head of the kitchen of the Seven Mysteries sect, procuring 2 lively gray hares for a few taels of silver before returning back to the valley. After he returned to the valley, Han Li chose a more spacious location inside the herb garden and tied the rabbits to a stake, letting them stay outside in the blazing sun for quite a period of time. After the rabbits were dizzy from the heat and were almost dying of thirst, Han Li took out the mysterious bottle and poured the mysterious jade-green droplet of liquid into a bowl before diluting it with water. The mysterious droplet of liquid was about the size of a bean and easily dissolved in the water, causing the whole bowl of water to turn into a jade-green color. Han Li placed the bowl near the rabbits and waited for them to drink the water. Being out in the blazing sun for such a long period of time, the rabbits scampered up and drank the water in the bowl in big gulps. Han Li was unwilling to allow the rabbits to drink the entire bowl of diluted water, and after half of the water was gone, he removed the bowl from the rabbits' reach. After that, he stood to the side and observed, patiently waiting for any reactions from the rabbits. After a short moment passed, about the time it takes for a stick of incense to burn, the rabbits started to frantically jump about, their actions becoming more and more agitated and ferocious. Their bodies began to undergo an astounding mutation. Their fur and skin started to protrude lumps the size of a chicken egg. The lumps multiplied until they covered the rabbits' bodies. From afar, Han Li felt that the rabbit looked quite comical. The lumps had caused the rabbits to grow bigger by a single size, swelling up until both of the rabbits grew to the size of watermelons. Looking at the mutation of the rabbits, along with their tortured shrieks, Han Li felt a bit of fear in his heart. What just happened before his eyes was completely outside of his expectations. If the mysterious liquid was a potent poison or a miraculous medicine to increase cultivation, he would still not be so shocked. He did not expect that the rabbits would actually grow lumps all over their bodies and expand to such a size, becoming grotesque beyond belief. Looking at the rabbits in front of him, he saw that they continued to grow larger and expand. Han Li had at last realized that something was wrong. He suddenly remembered something. He looked at the porcelain bowl in his hand like a snake and threw it to the side by the medicine field. He then turned around and took to his heels, running straight away from the rabbits for more than 10 meters before stopping. Just as he thought of turning around, one after another, two sounds simultaneously exploded over. Han Li shuddered and turned his head for a look. As expected, each of the two rabbits had turned into a bloody carcass, exploding into several chunks. Flesh and blood were scattered, covering a patch of grass with a blanket of blood. Two pits appeared in the places where the rabbits had been originally tethered to. Surrounding the pits were the rabbits' messy remains. Bloody chunks of meat sprinkled the ground. This was a spectacle too terrible to observe. Han Li let out a breath and sat down on the ground. He feared that if he had not reacted quickly enough at that instance, he would have been caught in the explosion. Although he might not have been seriously injured, having his entire body drenched in rabbit blood and dregs of meat would not have been a pleasant affair. Waiting until after his heart calmed, Han Li stood up and walked next to the pits. After seeing the mutilation at the site, he took a look at the shattered porcelain bowl by the medicine field and was dumbfounded. Han Li originally believed that he would have discovered the green liquid to be some sort of panacea, but he did not expect it to be such a frightening thing. Poison was poison, but it made the rabbits die so tragically. No matter what he said to himself, he could not pass this off as a trick. It was far too frightening. Han Li was not unfamiliar with deadly poisons. Under Dr. Mo's several years of instruction, Han Li was experienced with many poisons capable of delivering an instant death, but none of them were capable of killing a man so terribly. After a while, Han Li regained his composure. Keeping his head calm, he made plans to depart from the medicine field. Because it was soon going to be noon, he had to finish mixing the secret medicine to give to senior disciple Li. As for everything here, he would deal with it once he finished delivering the medicine. With these thoughts in mind, Han Li did not take another look at the scene of the explosion, leaving all these troubles behind for later, and returned to his residence. After resting for a moment, he brought the medicine to the entrance of God Han's Valley. Han Li was very punctual. He arrived at the entrance just as noon arrived. Li Feiyu seemed to have been anxiously waiting for him for a while now. He alone waited at the valley's entrance. He wore a white embroidered gown. However, he carried along the longsword that had previously left Han Li a deep impression. Since Han Li had not arrived yet, Li Feiyu's face showed a sliver of worry, anxiously looking towards the direction of the valley. As soon as he saw Han Li finally arrive, he put away his expression of anxiety. The corner of his mouth slightly rose, his face exposing a smile. "Junior disciple Han, you are truly quite punctual. You said noon, and you arrived right on time. I was waiting here for almost an hour," Li Feiyu said half jokingly, half complaining. "I am quite embarrassed. Blending the medicine took too much time yesterday, so I didn't sleep until it was very late. In the morning, I woke a bit late. As soon as I finished taking care of a few matters at hand, it was almost noon already," said Han Li. Half of what he said was true. "Junior disciple Han, the medicine, did you finish mixing it?" Because senior disciple Li was anxious and a little hurried, he had actually spoken with somewhat of a stutter. Han Li did not directly answer senior disciple Li's question. He calmly smiled, slowly taking out a large medicine bag out from his bosom. With a swing of his arm, he threw the medicine over to Li Feiyu. Every time before you consume the essence extraction pill, take the medicine by mixing a spoon of the medicinal powder with cooled boiled water, and it will alleviate all of your pain. Thank you, Junior Disciple Han. Thank you, Junior Disciple Han. Senior Disciple Li was wild with joy. Even if it could only ease his pain, he would have regarded it as great news. The pain from taking the essence extraction pill made it so that he would shiver even when it wasn't cold. He had tried many painkillers, but they all had no effect. Since Junior Disciple Han knew all of the characteristics of the essence extraction pill and had taken it before, perhaps this medicine would actually be effective. Don't thank me yet. Wait until after the medicine works before thanking me. In addition, this is only a year's worth of medicine. I currently used up all of the medicinal ingredients I had available. I won't be able to make any more for you until I gather enough medicinal ingredients, Han Li spoke bluntly. No problem. Isn't this a year's worth? This is enough for the time being. Regardless of whether or not this medicine is effective, Li Feiyu appreciates Junior Disciple Han's kind intentions. Senior Disciple Li had at last acquired what he desired. His expression returned to normal and was no longer artificial. He very straightforwardly expressed a humble feeling of respect towards Han Li. Han Li faintly smiled. Not saying anything else, he took the initiative to part ways with Senior Disciple Li. With the secret medicine in Li Feiyu's hand, his head was filled with thoughts of quickly returning and testing the efficacy of the medicine. Seeing that Li Feiyu had no urge to bother Han Li any further, the two mutually took their leave. After returning from the valley entrance, Han Li first went to clean up the medicine fields. The rabbit remains, bloodied earth, and broken bowl shards were soon completely swept into a hole. Then, he endlessly covered the two earth pits by pushing it flat with dirt. Just like that, it appeared as if there were no difference in the landscape between its current state and its state before the experiment. Satisfied, Han Li clapped his hands to get rid of any dust particles. He looked all over the place, checking if there was anywhere he had overlooked. When his eyes fell onto where the porcelain bowl had shattered, he could not help but mutter to himself. He remembered very clearly that when he threw away the bowl, the diluted water within had spilled all over a small portion of the medicine field, landing on several medicinal herbs. He couldn't help but be somewhat hesitant since he didn't know whether these medicinal herbs would become poisonous after absorbing the water. Also, if someone were to eat these poisonous herbs, would they also experience the same horrible death as the rabbits? Should Han Li immediately destroy these poisonous plants? This chain of questions abruptly rose in Han Li's mind. Han Li had pondered for half a day, unable to come to a decision. After examining the plants once more, he decided to only do another small experiment. If in the following days, the medicinal herbs really became poisonous, it still wouldn't be too late for him to destroy them. After deciding, he looked around to see if there was nothing else he could do and went back to the stone room to practice. He hoped that he would be capable of breaking through and continue advancing his foundation. Han Li currently no longer cared about the chant's specific usefulness. His cultivation of this chant had already become instinctive. If he did not cultivate it, Han Li wouldn't know what else he could do in the mountain valley. Stubbornly cultivating this chant to a greater layer of cultivation had already become his current life's entire goal. After an afternoon absorbed in cultivation, Han Li dispiritedly discovered that he truly was not a genius. Although he felt the distance from the fourth layer could be pierced through by a finger, he couldn't advance an inch forward and had diligently cultivated the whole afternoon in vain. It seemed he couldn't cultivate any further without the support of medicinal elixirs. Otherwise, it would be very likely that he would forever stay at the peak of the third layer, unable to advance any further. Han Li's mind began to hope expectantly that Dr. Mo would return a bit earlier and was lucky enough to have found enough medicinal ingredients to help Han Li break through his current predicament.